What's good, y'all? This is Channel from NYC, and guess what? I'm hyped because we out here. We done made it. We live. We in a building. I'm excited because we're going to talk about Vampires versus the Bronx today. And if you can't tell, I could not be more excited because, as you may or may not know by now, I'm from New York. And the idea of having a movie about the Bronx on Netflix has me super duper hyped. There's going to be mad spoilers in this, but if you don't mind, stick around and let's get it.
Hello, Drew.
Alright, so basic plot. We got 3 kids, 3 boys living in the Bronx. It's Miguel, Bobby, and Luis. So at this point, gentrification has finally found its way to the Bronx, and it's pushing longtime residents of their neighborhood out to God knows where. So Miguel, who's like the main character of the trio, he's like, excuse me, something's a little weird up in here. Let me get to investigating. Lo and behold, we discover that there's vampires in the Bronx, obviously. So Miguel, Bobby, and Luis are determined to get those leeches up and out before it's too late. Let me just talk about, for a quick second, why this is so important and relevant. For me personally, gentrification is a bit of a touchy topic because I've been affected by it for most of my life. The Bronx is just now starting to experience gentrification compared to Brooklyn, which I feel like started changing around 15 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. I personally have equal love for both Brooklyn and the Bronx because I see both of them as my home. People stay coming for the Bronx. It's been referred to as the Florida of New York City, which I kind of agree. You know, I'm gonna let that rock. But you know what? No place is perfect. You can find wild people everywhere. Every city has a little Florida in them. The Bronx is a special place regardless, and I think that it deserves its flowers as well. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like the Bronx doesn't have some special energy to it just because some people be wilding from time to time. And that's no shade to Florida, it's all love, but you know what it is. That being said, I love how this movie uses the concept of vampires and gentrification to keep the cast modest. I don't really like when movies have too many characters in them, because then you start to lose track of people and it's like, well, we haven't seen this character in mad long, like where are they? The movie is pretty short and it feels really short. It's 86 minutes long, so just under an hour and a half. It's pretty family friendly. They curse like 3 times. As a person who does live in the Bronx, that is not really what I hear from young boys around that age, but you know what? I like that they let the boys keep their innocence. Everybody isn't the same. We don't all have to walk around cursing. We see a handful of familiar faces throughout the movie, particularly Mero from Jesus and Mero, and we know both of those dudes are proud Bronx heads. In the movie, he portrays a bodega owner who helps our 3 boys out throughout the movie. His outfit was pretty spot on. I usually see like older Dominican dudes wearing that. He's kind of young, but I see it as like paying homage, so I'm gonna let him rock. We also see Method Man, who I love, and we see Judy Marte, who her face was so familiar the moment I saw her. I think I don't even know how I remember this because I was like a literal child when his movie came out, but Raising Victor Vargas, that's the movie I think I remember her from. I love the touch that she added because she wasn't doing the most. She felt like your typical mom that you see just trying to raise her kids in New York City. We also see Chris Redd, who we know from Saturday Night Live. Now, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but Chris Redd's character, he was usually just posted up in the movie with his friend, and it really reminded me of Crooklyn. If you ever seen Spike Lee's movie, there's like these 2 dudes, I think they're like low-key high, but like they usually just sit around the neighborhood and just watch. Every neighborhood has those guys who just sit around, they're not bothering nobody, they just post it up, but something about the way that they were set up, it just reminded me of that. This was probably a reach, but that's just the vibe I was getting. Of course, it's the Bronx, it's New York, so what do we have? We gotta have some gang activity, we gotta have a hood dude. There's a hood dude in this movie, his name is Henny, which is so cringy. Like, you are not Henny, you are a thought juice, but whatever. He was so corny to me. First of all, you're like 33, you have 3 other guys in your crew, like where's the rest of your guys? He was driving an old Lexus, his outfit was corny, his crew is corny, like y'all could just hang it. Bobby, who's one of our boys, he's the young black boy in the group. He lives with his mom and his siblings, and he's usually approached by the hood dude, Henny. We've seen this kind of thing before. You have a character who's living in the hood, and they have to choose between the streets and a life beyond that. And then for some reason in that same movie, you'll find a character who's trying to hold our main character back. The reason why it was weird in this movie is because our 3 boys look so young. They look like they're 12 or 13 years old. And I know that like young kids do get recruited by people in the streets, but it was just really, really strange. There's this one scene where Henny goes to Bobby's bedroom window and he's like knocking, like, yo, you coming to the block tonight? And I'm like, bro, is this Romeo and Juliet? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you at the window right now? You and your gang friends are like 33 years old. There's nobody else. It's like literally a 30-year-old and then like a 13-year-old. Like, you don't have like no young like 20-somethings in your gang. Like, it's just so weird that you're gonna jump to like somebody who's like still trying to pass as regents in middle school. Like, that just doesn't make sense, but go off. Another thing that kind of had me annoyed was the conversations that Bobby and his mother would have, or I guess the lectures that she would give him, because he didn't get to respond. In this short movie, the boys found themselves in trouble pretty often because, you know, nobody believes them about these vampires. So his mother had to verbally snatch him right up. Fine, I get it, it's cool, you have to be a parent. But I hate how they wrote like a cliche into the script. Bobby's dad isn't around, we don't see him. I think his dad was killed. I think that's what the mom said. So we got the mom disciplining her son in front of everybody, like the streets, his friends, like everybody. Why is she like, you gonna end up like your daddy in the streets? I'm gonna lose you to the streets. And I'm like, damn, you gotta do him like that? You gotta do him like that in front of the homies? Like, this happened more than once in the movie. It happened at least twice, which was so annoying. Once was enough. It really wasn't needed. It felt so extra and it was cringy. Like, we've seen this before. It could be anything else. Why does it have to be the typical, yo, daddy done lost to the streets, I'm not gonna lose you too? Like, I didn't want to see that, but it's okay. It is fine. Now, Miguel, who's our main boy, he low-key was balling for the entire movie. He knew from the jump that something was wrong. And I get it, he had his little spidey senses tingling, but he just kept putting his crew in bad situations. And I'm just like, bro, you gotta have a plan first. You jumping out here with no action plan or anything like that. What are you doing? I mean, at the very least, I appreciate his determination and loyalty to his hood, but it's like, you almost killed your friends, but you know, do your thing. My favorite, our king, is Luis. Luis has the glasses. He is an icon. He made sure that everybody was strapped up. They helped to make stakes, and at the last minute when they were like, all right, it's about to be war, like we want the smoke, everybody's like getting what they can from their house, he grabs, because he's so smart, our boy Luis grabs the garlic adobo. I was like, yes. It was that thing that kind of like, if you know, you know. If you watch it, you would just laugh and be like, oh, that's so funny. I love the fact that it actually worked in the end too. Like, he just threw it on one of the vampires and it was like a wrap for them. Like, very minor character. I think her name was Glow. So this girl, she would go around the community on like Instagram Live and report on things that she saw, and I like that. I loved her character particularly because she looks and sounds a lot like girls that I've grown up around. But logistically speaking, her role made so much sense because, I guess from like a script writing point of view, if that makes sense, our boys were able to gain info from her videos and use it to devise a plan and come to certain conclusions. This way, we aren't guessing how they knew about certain things because that's already explained for us. Coco Jones is also in this movie, and it is so nice to see her acting, especially after her recent YouTube videos. You know, she came out and was just talking about what it's like to be a dark-skinned black woman in the industry and talking about her situation with Disney. My only issue is that I feel like they didn't use her character enough. Throughout the whole movie, besides our three boys, she's the only person who's actually knowledgeable about the vampires, and she didn't discredit their claims either. She wanted to help them. She came through at the last minute and then didn't even really help out with the fight scene. Like, they could have done better in that respect, but it probably would have worked more if the movie were longer than just 86 minutes. So again, I'm gonna let it be. My least favorite part of the movie had to be the final battle at the end. And by least, I just mean I was laughing at it the most because it was just ridiculous. Let me take a step back for y'all real quick and just explain how we got here. So not only are these vampires, like who wants to live with freaking Dracula Jr.'s? Nobody. But this is how they tie in the gentrification part. They are buying up buildings in the Bronx pretty much to bring their vampire friends there, vampire dynasties there, so they can have a place to vibe, live, to rest up. Pretty much just take it over, and their whole thing is nobody will care about the Bronx. Nobody cares about this place. It's like a hellhole, you know. And I feel like they were kind of wild. They were kind of ODing. Like, at least if you're from New York City, we already know the rhetoric about the Bronx. People were just like, oh, they're crazy up there, don't go there. And I know you have to like make sure that people who are not from here understand like what it might be like for people here. But like, just with the dialogue, they were just doing this. They were just doing the most. They were like, nobody cares about the Bronx. You people are garbage. You should just die. We should just, I'm like, okay, like we get it. You guys don't think we matter. Like, cool, gang. This is why Miguel was so determined to like save his borough, because it's not just about saving his community. It's like they're killing us. I'm about to get super deep like we in a 101 class, but I see between the lines with that. Like, it's a comedy horror-ish movie. It's something deep there, and I do feel it and see it. But anyway, Vivian is the head of the vampires, and she's trying to square up with everybody all by herself. She's out here choking these kids up, throwing them around all willy-nilly. Now you have three boys who I said look like they're between the ages of 12 and and 14 going up against a vampire queen. Now that's a scary sight. So at the end of the movie, the whole hood pulls up. They're like, "Now you want the smoke? What's really good?" And that's wonderful. But here's my issue with this scene and fight scenes in general. So the boys are going up to her one by one. The hood is just standing there watching, right? My thing is this: why don't y'all just rush her and stomp her out? Why are you just watching? Mind you, they have weapons. Like, they didn't just pull up empty-handed. They pulled up with whatever they had access to. Vivian grabs Bobby by the throat, raises him off the ground. Baby boy got 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot dangling in the air. Everybody is just standing there staring at them, even his own mom. Like, what are you doing? I just don't understand why they wrote it like that. Like, I could see if they at least, like, this is like kind of a drag, but I'm just trying to make it make sense. Like, if she would have had one of the kids, like, you know, strangling him above ground, okay, then maybe she could have possessed like everybody else, and like maybe only people who have like a cross, like a Jesus piece on, could have like been able to repel. I don't know if this is like extra, but like, I'm just trying to make something make sense, because it's just unrealistic. Nobody's gonna sit there and watch their child get choked by a white woman in the Bronx. Like, that's just not gonna happen. Then somebody throws a Timberland boot, which that part had me crying, like, especially because yes, we love our Timbs around here. They're very durable boots, good for the winter. But as we've seen in the last couple of years, people who are not from New York, or at least like the East Coast, love to take the whole Timberland thing like so far with the memes and stuff. But like when they threw it, I was like, okay, ha ha ha. Like, non-New Yorkers or non-East Coast people are gonna see this and like lose their minds because they just love those jokes. Overall, the movie could have been a little bit longer, but it's okay. Dialogue was a little awkward at times, but it was nowhere near bad. I did like the movie, and I actually want to watch it again. I don't know why. It was really cute. The few cons that I pointed out in the movie are significantly outweighed by the rest of the movie. I cannot even explain to you how dope it feels to see my home, or my second home, on Netflix. Like, I'm not talking about the Empire State Building, Central Park. Like, you know when you're watching your city portrayed and they showing like the typical like skyline, and it's like, that's my city, but I don't actually live there. Like, I'm literally seeing buildings that I've walked by before. I'm seeing like train stations that I've like gotten off at before. Like, I'm seeing the Bronx, the concourse, in a lighthearted movie. I'm really excited to see more things produced up here, mainly from people who are from the community. I'm really proud, and this is so exciting. I want to see movies and shows too in other cities throughout the world and country that depict life accurately there. We don't always need to see a struggle movie. We don't always need to see somebody fighting against the system. Sometimes we watch these kinds of things because we want to escape what we're going through in real life. That doesn't mean don't make movies like that or shows like that anymore. I want something that's chill, period. I highly suggest that if you can watch it, you do. I think it's really important that we support work like this. And what's even better is that it's not like I'm telling you or suggesting that you support something just because it's like people of color. Like, it's actually good, it's actually entertaining, and it is perfect for the Halloween mood that we're in. But if you made it this far, I thank you for hanging out with me. I'm curious to know what you think if you've seen the movie already. Have you seen the trailer? Are you interested? Were you hyped when you saw the trailer? Let me know. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.